I've been more intentional about what I wear day to day, leaning into pieces that feel easy, comfortable, and still put together. It just makes getting dressed simpler. And Quince is a great go to for that. The fabrics feel elevated, the fits are clean, and everything just works without needing to overthink it. I love when the seasons changed and I get to rediscover some Quince clothes in my closet. Just rediscovered a great white button down shirt I have from Quince that'll go well with my travel pants. Quince is priced 50 to 80% less than you'd find at similar brands. Quince works directly with ethical factories and cuts out the middleman so you're getting premium material without the markup. Think 100% European linen shorts and shirts from $34, lightweight, breathable, and comfortable, but still look put together and clean. 100% Prima cotton tees with a softness that has to be felt. Refresh your everyday with luxury you'll actually use. Head to quince.com/traveler for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/traveler for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/traveler. And thanks to Quince for sponsoring this episode of Amateur Traveler. This episode is sponsored by Smart Travel, a new podcast from NerdWallet. You know that one friend who always finds the best travel deals, picks the right cards, and somehow ends up in first class for the price of coach? Smart Travel is like that friend, but in podcast form. They cover all things finance, like which travel cards earn their keep and which are just heavy, shiny metal, the quick math for knowing when to pay with points or just swipe the credit card, planning group trips that won't ruin your budget or your friendships. If you haven't heard the story about friends who won't speak to each other after a 1 week vacation together, buy me a Diet Coke sometime and I'll tell you. The nerds at NerdWallet know this stuff better than me, and that's why I feel great about recommending the Smart Travel podcast. After all, we nerds have to stick together. Travel smarter and spend less with the help from NerdWallet. Follow Smart Travel wherever you get your podcasts. Amateur Traveler, episode 994. Today, Amateur Traveler talks about fast cars and petroglyphs, river rafting and neon lights, musical shows, and maybe even some gambling as we go to Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Chris Christensen from Amateur Traveler. Let's talk about Vegas. I would like to welcome to the show Meryl Pearlstein from mdppublicity.com, travel writer. And Meryl has come to talk to us about Las Vegas. Meryl, welcome to Amateur Traveler.
Thank you so much, Chris. I love to talk about Las Vegas. It's one of my favorite places to travel to.
Excellent. You say that, and yet in our email, you say you don't necessarily go there for the gambling.
Oh, no. And that's quite true. In fact, the only time I go gambling is just to prove that I did a slot machine. And I have a little ticket that shows that I won 20 cents at MGM Grand, which is funny. But no, I don't gamble. There's so much else to do there that why waste my time or money?
That sort of leads into the question of why should someone go to Las Vegas, even if they don't necessarily gamble?
If you have a lot of interests, pretty much anything can be satisfied there. I love dining, I love the arts, I love educational things, and I certainly love the great outdoors. And if you put all those together, you have them all in Las Vegas. And I don't know if people think about that, but you don't have to go to a big city like New York City. You can go to Las Vegas and then spend some time seeing shows, having some amazing dining with top chefs that have gathered there to open their own outposts, and then hit the desert, which I adore. And I don't have a desert in New York City. So for me, this is something that I look for. I love to go hiking in the desert, I love to go off roading. And I also am a little bit of a freak about fast cars. And I'm sure you know that Formula One happens
Mm-hmm.
in Las Vegas. You can go karting on a simulated track, and it's so much fun. Or you can go drive an exotic car or go to the Tom Petty Racing School and have your own driving experience up to 160 miles an hour. And I love
Well,
that.
let's not give everything away. Let's talk about your itinerary. Where are we going to start?
Okay, so the first thing I think you really have to decide is, are you going there for an event? Do you want to see a specific show
Yeah.
or a concert? That would be your starting point. That would tell you where you want to book, where you might want to stay, and the number of days around that. But if that's not a concern, then just pick your hotel. And I definitely have recommendations on that. And I think one of the things that's misleading in guidebooks is they don't tell you what the distances are between places.
Oh gosh, and they're surprisingly big. Even when you're there, you think, "Oh, I can see it. It must be really close to walk to," and then you find out it's much further, and everything is much larger.
Yeah, exactly. So the strip itself is about 4 miles, or give or take,
Hmm.
and then you have the offshoots from there. And you think you can walk from the north end to the south. And good luck. It's hot, it's crowded. The
Right.
sidewalks are not direct. You have to go up escalators, through walkways, inside buildings. It's really a bit convoluted. So you do need to pick your hotel carefully. I have a couple of preferences.
And you say it's hot. That does beg the question of, is there a time of year you recommend to go or to avoid Las Vegas?
July, skip it. Oh my God. I was there last July. If you can deal with temperatures that are ranging from 105 plus,
Yeah.
it's okay. But it is hot. And yes, maybe it's a dry hot, but not so
It's dry
much.
heat like an oven. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You go outside at one of the malls and in 2 seconds you're fried, truly
Yep.
fried. On the other hand, I've gone in November, and November is cool. It's comfortable. And you don't
Hmm.
think that Las Vegas really has a winter, but they do. So October is beautiful. November is getting cool. Springtime is lovely there. April is great.
Excellent. You mentioned places to stay that you had suggestions there. Do you want to do that now or do you want to do that later?
No, I can do it right now. Again, what's very important is deciding what you want to do to figure out
Hmm.
where your base is. Otherwise, you're spending a lot of time in traffic. And I do suggest taking Ubers because you don't want to drive. You really don't. And the taxis are unpredictable. And there is a limited monorail service on the west side of the strip. On the east side, you have a limited tram service.
Right.
So it's a little bit tough. And walking, we already talked about that. So if you're hanging out more on the southern side of the strip, let's say where some of the shows are, or some of the events, some of the attractions like the New York roller coaster or Cirque du Soleil, Mad Apple, things like that, then stay at that end. Stay at the MGM Grand. Stay at New York, New York for something that's a little bit cheaper. I would recommend that end. The middle part, which gets more towards where the Bellagio fountains are and all, that's a great place if you're okay with walking. It's a
Hmm.
beautiful hotel. You have the fountains right there. It's gorgeous. My
So you've
preference
got the
right now,
Bellagio, the Paris, the Venice, all in that kind of middle part that you're talking about there.
the Venetian, which is on the other side, it skews a little bit further towards the north, so that's
Yeah.
okay. And I want to talk about the Venetian later on when we talk about dining, and that's important. My newest find, and I absolutely adore this hotel, is the Fontainebleau, which is
Okay.
at the northern end. It's shiny, it's new, it doesn't get the wandering in crowds because of its location. So the floor is not crowded. It has a ton of restaurants, probably one of the best spas and gyms that I've ever seen. And you can use it, by the way, if you're not a guest. But I love that hotel. They're super nice. And the location for me is perfect,
Okay.
especially if you want to get out of the city. You're all the way pointing in the direction of downtown and the deserts. It's great.
Okay. Well, let's talk about things to do. Shall we start with downtown and then head out of town?
Yeah, why not? Okay. So I think a lot of people, when they think of Las Vegas, don't necessarily think of the downtown area. And possibly they've heard of Fremont Street, which is the old Las Vegas area. It's fun, it's tacky. I would never suggest staying in a hotel there.
I have
Noise,
stayed in a hotel there because I was at a conference at the convention center, which is right near there.
right.
Yeah, they're all dated, I would
They're
say.
all dated and it's just too loud all night long. That's not the place to stay, but you can stay close by, go to the Fontainebleau, as I mentioned. But there are a lot of things to do downtown. The Mob Museum is
Hmm.
fantastic if you want to learn about Bugsy Siegel and the history basically of how Las Vegas started. Everything is there. You can spend a few hours roaming around there. There's a speakeasy in the basement that's a lot of fun. They have their own brewery, distillery. I love
I
that
did not
museum.
know that. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think a lot of people know about the speakeasy, but it's
Yeah.
really fun. And there are pictures, there are photos lining the walls with all kinds of stuff from Prohibition days. It's really a treat. I love that place. Also, downtown, you have the Neon Museum. That's also one of my favorites. If you really want a dose of Las Vegas history, this is the Boneyard, which means all of the neon signs that were of hotels and attractions of times past. This is where they've gone to die. And they have lit up about 30% of them. So the best time to go is after dusk. Of course, you can go during the day, but I don't suggest that. Go after
Okay.
dusk, get a reservation, get a tour, and they'll explain to you about the Sahara sign and the duck sign, etc. And here's a new little sneaky thing. They have another program that you can sign up for called Brilliant, which is a side arena area, and you sit, and they have affected some magic where they have the signs superimposed on actual settings in Las Vegas, and they light them up. And you get a real sense of Las Vegas almost in a film way.
Hmm.
It's really special. It's a new thing, and a lot of people don't know
So
about
it's
it.
a light show.
It's a light show, essentially. Yeah.
Interesting.
It's called Brilliant. One more museum, the Punk Museum, is a trip. And
I don't know this one.
if you don't know about it, it's the largest collection of punk music memorabilia ever put together. And
Huh.
most of it has been donated by fans and the artists themselves. So you have guitars from real musicians, you have their shirts, what they wore. It's great. It's really kooky. And there's a crazy limousine outside that's adorned with a mohawk. It's nuts. I love this place. And of course, you're going to hear music by the Ramones and Ziggy and Iggy Pop and all these people while you're there. It's great. For something a little more cultural downtown, you have the Arts District, and that has some kooky places to entertain you. There's Area 15, which is really a playground of all kinds of immersive art, bars, experiences. If you've ever heard of Meow Wolf, I
Oh
don't know
yeah.
if you have. Yeah, they have
I
their
have been
outpost
to
there.
the Meow Wolf, the original one in
Santa Fe.
Santa Fe.
Yeah. The one they have here is called Omega Mart. And it's a story that you follow and you climb through tunnels and slide down
Okay.
chutes and try to put it all together. So that's part of this Area 15 complex.
And we should say a little bit about what Meow Wolf is because it is not something that you can guess from the name and it's hard to describe, but it's an artist collective where everybody gets a little piece and does their own in-person interactive artwork. And past that, I really don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, I don't
It is odd.
I don't either. What the way they describe Omega Mart is that it's a surreal supermarket that
Okay.
turns into a full-blown alternate universe, if you will, and you follow clues and it's nuts.
Okay. I know the one in Santa Fe. At one point, you're in a house that has some story about it that was very odd. And then you can slide down a slide in the washing machine and end up in an area that's pink with dinosaur skeletons. It's just a very interesting but odd place.
This is very similar. It just has a supermarket theme to it.
Yep, yep, exactly.
And the whole Area 15 thing, they keep introducing new entertainment things. They have a new one called Odyssey. I haven't done it yet. It's some sort of dinner party thing. I'm
Okay.
dying to try it. Every time I go, there's something new and different there. So that's a lot of fun. One quirky thing that I've discovered in that area that I'm sure most people have never seen is called Artistic Art Ironworks. And technically, it's
Okay.
an iron foundry shop. However, if you drive by it outside, they have giant iron dinosaurs and horses and flowers, and you think you've gone crazy. You feel like you're at the Museum of Natural History done in this iron stuff. And
Hmm.
you could just walk around the perimeter of it and have a great time. It's so much fun. And there's a great place to eat next door called Esther's Kitchen, which is very different from the restaurants that you find in the casinos. This is really an Italian seafood forward, chef driven place. Hard to get a reservation. Highly recommended.
Okay.
Downtown, I can go on and on. On the strip, there's so much to do. I personally, since I never go to a casino, I can be very busy going to some of their wonderful museums, and some of that I'll put in quotes. They have the National Atomic Testing Museum. And
Hmm.
I'll bet most of your listeners have never heard of that. But if you want to learn about Nevada's nuclear testing history, this is the place to go. It'll teach you about science, the Cold War, and it's also kitschy. And I love it. And
Right.
it's right off the strip. And just full contrast, go over to Mandalay Bay and walk through to the back, and you get to the Shark Reef Aquarium, which
Hmm.
has one of the largest collections of predators, sharks, piranhas, you name it, any
Right.
place in the country. And you can spend a lot of time there. It's really well done. A lot of people don't know about it. It's hidden in the back of the resort. And if you want a little more fun, the Pinball Hall of Fame can keep
Sure.
you occupied for hours and hours. And that's on the same road. If you were to leave Las Vegas for a sightseeing tour with Maverick helicopters, they're based over there and they do the best trip ever to the Grand Canyon. It's a small plane. They also have two female pilots, which I was very excited about. And they'll take you to the rim and land, and you have a nice little champagne toast and snacks all by yourself in the middle of the Grand Canyon. It was one of the best flight seeing experiences I've ever done.
Okay. Interesting.
Now, if you want to leave Las Vegas going the other direction and stay on the ground, I love pink Jeep tours because they take you into the desert and to Hoover Dam.
Another
So,
woman-owned business there.
yeah, I love it. And that's why they're pink. And they do
Yes.
pick you up at your hotels, so you don't have to think about it, which is a real plus. They'll pick you up at your hotel. And they go to two of my favorite places that I've gone repeatedly because I love the desert so much. Red Rock Canyon is great
Hmm.
for hiking. It's not strenuous, it's just beautiful, incredible formations.
And right out of town.
Yeah, it's about a half an hour drive, not very far. If you go maybe another 10 minutes, you'll get to Valley of Fire. And that's another area with incredible landscape and a lot of history with petroglyphs. You
Hmm.
climb up ladders on top of caves and extraordinary petroglyphs from the Native Americans in times past. And I just love it. You can't believe that the strip, booming Las Vegas, crazy neon Las Vegas, is half an hour away. You're
Hmm.
really into a different world and it's quiet, it's calm, it's very zen. I love it.
And we've talked about it on the show recently, Valley of Fire, and there's a place where you probably really don't want to be there in the heat of the summer because it's even hotter than Las Vegas.
Right. And there's no shade. Yeah. So that's one thing. But they do have another version. They take you down one of the canyon roads and you go ATVing. And
Okay.
that's incredibly fun. It's the same company. So you're in a Jeep, which maybe will give you a little bit of shade. But if you're not used to really bumpy and somewhat treacherous roads, I wouldn't suggest it. I loved it.
Okay. Rakuten opens up a world of rewards. You can earn cash back on fashion, beauty, electronics, pet supplies, kid stuff, groceries. But what I'm here to tell you is with Rakuten, you can get cash back on travel too. Join and save on your next trip. You'll get cash back on the flight, the hotel, and the car rental. Book on your favorite travel sites like Expedia, Booking.com, Viator, VRBO, Hotels.com, IHG, and more. Save on cruises, vacation packages, and experiences as well. And don't worry, cashback can be earned on top of your credit card points with many loyalty programs because we know you're saving every way you can. So go ahead, take a trip, find the perfect hotel, book an artesian cheese experience inside a cave in Spain. Wherever you want to go with Rakuten. Join today for free. Go to Rakuten.com or get the app. That's Rakuten. And thanks to Rakuten for sponsoring this episode of Amateur Traveler. I'm a guy in my 60s, and that means growing up, skincare for me just meant washing my face, and we only wore sunscreen if we went to the beach. And so my skin has seen some wear and tear. That's one of the reasons I like OneSkin as a sponsor. Obviously, it's better if you start sooner than I did. OneSkin's results are backed by four peer reviewed clinical studies, over 10,000 five-star reviews, and they've been recognized by Bloomberg as a leader in skin longevity. You don't really need a complicated routine to get healthier, younger looking skin. Born from over a decade of longevity research, OneSkin's OS1 peptide is proven to target the visible signs of aging, helping you unlock your healthiest skin now and as you age. For a limited time, try OneSkin with 15% off using code TRAVELER at oneskin.co/traveler. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code TRAVELER. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support this show and tell them I sent you. And thanks to OneSkin for sponsoring this episode of Amateur Traveler.
Now, for somebody who wants to continue the history theme, they'll take you to the Hoover Dam, which is
Mm-hmm.
like 25 minutes away, very easy to get to. You can do a whole tour there, or do what I also loved. I went rafting under the dam. So they have a
Oh,
float through the Black Canyon.
so
Did
when
you
you
know
say
about?
under the dam, you're starting after the dam, right at
Right.
the base of the dam. Okay.
You're at the base of the dam, you float down the river through the canyon. The guide is great. He'll explain the history of the dam, the people who worked on it, how they got everybody there, what you're looking at now, the importance of it today. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
lucky, and we were extremely lucky, there were bighorn sheep all along the river.
I've done the rafting from the next dam up the river, but I haven't from the Hoover Dam. Now, you talked about the history of the dam. You could do the tour, as you mentioned, but have you
Yes.
had a chance to do and I'm going to say this and it's going to sound funny, the Dam Museum in Boulder City?
No, I have not. Not yet, but I'll put it on my agenda,
It's
definitely.
worth going to. It won't take you that long to go through, but it's great in terms of seeing the history of building the dam because that whole city down there basically was where the workers lived while they were building Hoover Dam. And so that's a nice little museum there. And Boulder City itself is a cute little town, some decent places to eat, a little less expensive than Vegas. Vegas is not that cheap place it used to be when I was younger with bargain buffets and things like that anymore.
That is true, but I am very skilled at finding out the cheap places to eat, and
Ah,
I have a few favorites.
well, that was going to be one of my questions coming up. We'll get there.
Okay.
Where else are you recommending we spend our time here?
For another drive out of the city, and again, this is really quirky and fun, about a half an hour out, I guess it's 5:15, about
Mm-hmm.
20 minutes out of the city, there's a really strange art installation called Seven Magic Mountains. And I don't
Oh
know
yeah,
if you've heard of it. Do you know
yep.
it? Okay, so it's to tell your listeners what it is, it's you have this installation of bright stacked neon boulders in the desert that just stand out and wow you because where did they come from? Why are they here? And it's gorgeous. So that's your first stop. Then continue down the road and you'll get to a ghost town called Good Springs. And that's about another 25 minutes or so
Mm,
from Seven Magic Mountains. It's a semi-abandoned mining town that dates to the early 1900s, and it's
this
really
one I don't
dusty.
know.
Oh, you gotta go, Chris. You have to go.
I love
It's
a good ghost town.
yeah, it's super dusty. It's super real. And one thing, it's maybe even a little bit creepy. There's a post office building, and we couldn't tell if it was still happening because it is a town, if it was real or not, or if it was a museum. But there were two people in front of it kind of beckoning us to come in, and we didn't feel so sure about it. It was one of those, maybe these people are ghosts. I don't know. Maybe they're gunslingers. I don't know. But anyway, so it's worth driving there. And one of the anchors there that you have to do is called the Pioneer Saloon. Do you
Okay,
know of that one?
I do
So,
not.
okay, so it was opened in 1913, and it's one of the oldest bars in Southern Nevada. When you walk inside, there are bullet holes in the wall, dollar bills, if you look up, stapled to the ceiling, and all kinds of things on the wall that talk about the miners, the gamblers, the people who were there. If you talk to the bartenders, they'll tell you about the ghosts. There are definitely ghosts that they've seen. And there's also some sort of tie to the death of Clark Gable's wife, who happened there, whose wake they supposedly held there. Now, I didn't see much of that, but they also have some pretty wild music playing. So the food's not bad. You can get your burger, but listen to some really good country music and watch some of the locals do their thing. They dance well.
Okay.
That's a fun time. Definitely a fun time.
Excellent. Where to next?
Where to next? I guess you should go back to the Strip because we haven't talked that much about it. The first thing I said is if you're planning to come out for a concert or a show, Las Vegas has it. It has everything that you can think of.
And do you have a good way to tell what's playing in Las Vegas? Are you just going to one of the Ticketmaster or something like that sites, or is there a better resource?
There are a couple of ways to do it. If you go to Ticketmaster and you put in Las Vegas rather than a venue, it'll
Hmm.
give you everything, absolutely everything. But if you go to a particular venue's site or hotel site, they have what's happening. So the hotels that have the main entertainment venues like Caesars has the
Hmm.
Coliseum, the Fontainebleau has Blow Live. These are big concert arenas. The Venetian has Sphere, which is
Hmm.
an important place to visit. Allegiant has their own thing. Any of the MGM resorts, if you go on their site, you'll get what's happening at MGM Park and New York, New York. You'll get all of those in one place. So it's pretty easy.
Okay.
You have to nose around a little bit. It's not as tight in one place as you might think. If anybody
Well,
has
and
polls,
how many different Cirque du Soleil shows are currently playing in?
oh geez. Oh, I've seen them all. I've actually seen them all a couple of times. My favorite is Mad Apple, which is in New York, New York. It's the most current.
Okay.
And it's really different from the typical contortionist and acrobat scene. It's
Yeah.
a mix of body, comedy, jokes, dance, some acrobatics, music. It's just kooky. It's so much fun and it changes all the time. I love that one. Mystère and O are the classics. They've been around forever. Kai is still wonderful. I'm not sure what the status is actually of MJ the musical. I believe it's still happening. I know the Beatles' Love has closed.
Okay.
I believe that's it for now. I've seen them all multiple times. There's always something new to see. So
Hmm.
even if you've seen them once, definitely go back and try Mad Apple. A lot of people don't know about that one. I loved it.
And the other thing you mentioned earlier, but I said we'll get to later, was if I liked fast cars.
Yes. So I do. I'm an adrenaline junkie. If you have the money, go over to the exotics racetracks because
Okay.
that's where they let you do laps on a supercar. So if you've always had a fantasy about driving a Lamborghini, this is where to go. You pay the bucks and then you get to drive it, and it's quite an experience. The one that I have not done that one yet, but I really would love to, but I've done the Las Vegas Motor Speedway,
Hmm.
and that's where you drive a NASCAR car and you have a choice. You can do it alone or you can be the passenger.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was a baby being the passenger because we were going 160 miles per hour, which is really a trip.
Yeah.
And I love that. And then there's the Grand Prix Plaza that I mentioned before, where there are all kinds of displays about Formula One, since the Las Vegas one in November is huge. But you can go karting there and have a fun experience, as well as learning about the Grand Prix. It's really fun.
Got
But
it.
I want to interject another thing that I did that was just so much fun. And I don't know if people know about this either. It's called Dig This. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah, with the large earth equipment.
Exactly. So I was able to drive a backhoe. And no, actually, the first time I did it, I drove a bulldozer, which was so much fun just climbing into it. I'm small, and this thing is mammoth, absolutely mammoth. And you put on the headphones, they give you the instruction through the headphones, so they tell you how to drive it, and you can do it. And you do things like you push tires, empty tires, and create a pyramid, and then you drive over it. Or you make a mountain of sand. And it's just
Hmm.
so crazy and so much fun. I had the best time. Of course, after that, you need to go to the spa. You need to work off some of that muscle that you've just done. So then I would suggest going to the Fontainebleau, and they have this wonderful treatment. It's an ice snow shower. And literally, you stand there and shredded snow just falls over you. And it's not like going into a cold plunge. It hits you in different ways, more subtly. It's refreshing, it's invigorating, and the best. And the feeling afterwards is amazing.
Okay.
I look for what's different. And
Oh, sure. Okay.
this is why I don't have time to go to a casino. Why bother? Really?
Anything else in terms of activities we should talk about? Because I know you want to get into food and we also want to get into budget items.
Sure. I think those are the major ones that I would talk about. Maybe some other shows. So
Okay.
at the Wynn, there's another show called Awakening, which is very different from the Cirque du Soleil shows. It's more of a fantasy in the round, beautiful production. There are no acrobatics per se. There's none of the contortionist. It's definitely not really recommended for families. You're in very comfortable seats and you can take your cocktail in there with you. That's a lovely show. And then at the other end of the spectrum is Upsent. And Upsent is wild. It's near Caesars. And it's raunchy. It's not one of the sex shows. It's not a burlesque girly show. It's not that at all. And that's not my thing. But Absent mixes comedy with involvement. You don't want to sit in the first couple of shows. They're going to dress you in a giant garbage bag for a reason because you're going to get sprayed on with water. So you need to know that. You want to get a seat in the back. A front row seat is not the best place to be here, but it will be maybe slightly uncomfortable because it's a little titillating, but it's really fun and it's one of a kind. And that's called Upsent.
Let's talk
Mm,
about food. You wanted to talk about
Sure.
dining opportunities.
Yeah. So
Let's start with the high end and then maybe go towards the budget. How's that sound?
that sounds like a plan. Definitely. Because it's easy to do high end.
It is
But
easy to do high end in Vegas these days.
it is easy to do high end. And what I really have to say about high end is you have to make reservations
Okay.
because as expensive as they are in high demand, and tourism in Las Vegas, while it was down last year with the Canadian market not traveling as much, has
Sure.
rebounded beautifully this year. So things are busy. So you definitely want to get your reservations in.
And obviously in Vegas it also depends a lot on what conferences are in town, and there's
Yes.
always something, but sometimes there are nine things in town and some huge ones. So that will also make a difference in terms of the price of hotel rooms for one thing.
The price of hotel rooms and the
Yeah,
availability of
absolutely.
hotel rooms and the availability of restaurant reservations,
Yep.
particularly if they're ones you have your heart set on. Now,
Mm-hmm.
for me, there are certain ones that I just love. Oh, I thought of one other thing I forgot to tell you to do. Comedy is a big deal in Las Vegas, and I'm sure
Yeah.
you understand a lot of comedians got their start there. I have two favorite clubs, and one in particular is Brad Garrett's in New York. Now, he has expanded. He had original location that was in the cellar of the hotel. Now he has a much bigger, more luxe kind of club space. I look for the dates when he himself will be there. He is the
Hmm.
best host ever, and he always has other comedians with him, but he adds a certain, I don't know what, to the experience. Again, you may not want to sit in the front row because he will pick on you mercilessly. It's so much fun. He does a Don Rickles kind of thing, if you remember who that is. He'll pick on you, he'll call you names, and it's just so much fun. And his choice in comedians is tops.
And for our younger audience members, Don Rickles voiced Mr. Potato Head in the movie Toy Story.
That's a good reference. Oh, very nice. The other place that I really like is the Comedy Cellar in the Ryu Hotel. And the Ryu is a little bit set apart, which is a nice benefit. It's not crowded and crazy there. The Comedy Cellar gets a lot of the comedians that appear in New York, Los Angeles. So you get top names. It's just a great place. And you could also schedule your time around that, around those people. It's pretty wonderful. And then you can swing to another place that I forgot to mention. We haven't really talked so much about music yet. Besides comedy and shows and whatever, music is a huge deal in Las Vegas. Las Vegas invented the concept of a residency dating back to
Mm-hmm.
Celine Dion.
Right.
and then Liberace even. And now,
Well, I
other
think
music
actually goes back to Elvis.
and Sinatra, yeah, and
Yeah.
Elvis, absolutely. The idea behind that is that these performers would stay multiple nights. They didn't have to tour. They could mix up their set list one night to the next and attract people to stay longer and repeat the shows. But eventually it turned into something very difficult. Like the Celine Dion shows were impossible to get tickets for.
Right.
But now the residencies that happen are a little easier. In the past, they've been Adele, Cher, Aerosmith, the Rolling Stones at Allegiant. Sphere is now one of the homes of major residencies in Las Vegas. I don't know if you all know what Sphere is, but in 2023 it opened it. It's a completely different immersive entertainment experience with 167,000 speakers. I mean, it's crazy. And you have a display that wraps all the way around you. And it's a 160,000 square foot screen. It's one of a kind.
Not to mention that the outside of this is also a screen. And so when you're in Vegas these days, from many places in the strip, you can see this round building that sometimes is a happy face and sometimes is, I don't know what else. It is an interesting place.
Yeah, yeah. The visuals on the outside of the sphere, the exosphere, the graphics are insane. So you'll see a picture when Bob Weir from Dead and Co passed away, they had a tribute to him on the outside. When it
Huh.
was time for the elections, they had a message, go vote. And the happy face is the best because it winks, it goes to sleep. It's so cute. I'll stay up all night and just video it to get its various stages of life. It just makes me happy watching it. I love watching that. And you can get some pretty good visuals of that from the rooms, for example, at the Fontainebleau at the end of the strip, because it looks right towards that, which
Yep.
is great.
I don't know about you, but I like keeping my money where I can see it. Unfortunately, traditional big wireless carriers also seem to like keeping my money too. Before Mint Mobile asked about being a sponsor in the show, I was already looking at Mint Mobile because what they offer, the same towers, the same service for less money, was something that appealed to me. After years of overpaying for wireless, I finally got fed up with crazy high wireless bills. At Mint Mobile, all plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Bring your own phone and number, activate with eSIM in minutes, and start saving immediately. No long-term contracts and no hassles. Mint Mobile is here to rescue you with premium wireless plans starting at $15 a month. If you like your money, Mint Mobile is for you. Shop plans at mintmobile.com/traveler. That's mintmobile.com/traveler. Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month 5 GB plan required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. And thanks to Mint Mobile for sponsoring this episode of Amateur Traveler.
I sold my car in Carvana last night.
Well, that's cool.
No, you don't understand. It went perfectly. Real offer, down to the penny. They're picking it up tomorrow. Nothing went wrong.
So, what's the problem?
That is the problem. Nothing in my life goes as smoothly. I'm waiting for the catch.
Maybe there's no catch.
That's exactly what a catch would want me to think.
Wow, you need to relax.
I need to knock on wood. Do we have wood? Is this table wood?
I think it's laminate.
Okay, yeah, that's good. That's close enough.
Car selling without a catch. Sell your car today on Carvana. Pickup fees may apply.
Anyway, so talking about music, so the residencies there, like this summer, I think it's Backstreet Boys are coming, Kenny Chesney, Metallica. They get top musicians, a lot happening there. The other big venues for music, you have Allegiant. I don't think anybody in particular is coming, but that's where Beyonce, did a huge residency, and
Got
Taylor
it.
Swift, the Rolling Stones. That's your stadium concert venue. It's huge.
And there are also lots of other little shows around. I remember seeing Friends the musical in Vegas, which, was cute if you were a Friends fan or something. So there's the huge stages, and then there's lots of other little performances elsewhere that I'm not sure how you would track down.
I'll tell you one of my favorites, and people should look up this one right away. And I just found this fortuitously initially. It's called the Sand Dollar Lounge. It is one of the original dive bars for blues and rock,
Huh.
and a little taste of country too. And it's just a short drive down the strip. It's off the strip on a side street. And it's perfection in my book. It absolutely is. It is a dive bar. It has a dance floor. It has a little stage. It has the best live music. It has photos on the wall of musicians who have played there. Mick Jagger has stopped by. One of the guys from Led Zeppelin still comes by to play guitar on occasion. It is the real deal and no cost. You can sit on the bar stools, have a blast, and the beers are cheap. And then for late night dining, oh, can I segue into a little bit of dining there?
Sounds great.
Right down the road there for something cheap that people don't know about on Spring Mountain Road, if you continue down, is Chinatown. And I've only recently discovered
Huh.
this. And it's really Pan Asian. They call it Chinatown. And there are just so many restaurants. You won't believe it because it's one long stretch of them. One of my favorites that I discovered was the Hong Kong Garden Seafood one. And it's not Hong Kong cuisine, which drove me crazy with the name, but it's really Cantonese. And I think I was the only non-Asian there, but everybody else was speaking Chinese or Mandarin. And then there was me, and I was fine. And I loved it, and it was cheap. And that's only one of the places. There's so many there. And if you go late at night, you're going to see the chefs from other restaurants there because that's where they go.
Okay.
So that's a good one for if you want something cheap
Okay.
and different.
Hmm.
Also, not so far from there, and if you've been to San Diego, you might know this one, Tacos El Gordo.
I
Are you
don't
familiar
know
with that?
tacos El Gordo.
So there's such a mania for tacos everywhere now,
Sure.
everywhere. Like New York has tacos number one all over the place. This is one of the originals of this concept. It's a stand-up taco place. You order what you want in different windows. You get your taco, you get your moolah, you get various sundries. It's cheap, it's cash. I think they might even take credit cards because it's Las Vegas, of course. And you stand up and you eat with the locals. Dirt cheap. There's always a line to get in, no matter what time of the day, from 11 in the morning till 4 in the morning, because people know this is where to go after you've been drinking or after you've been partying. And it's one of my favorites, and it's cheap. And go there. Just go there. You'll enjoy. And of course, if you know In and Out from your area,
Sure.
Las Vegas has a few. There's one right on the strip by Link, which is good if you've gone on the high roller. And I forgot to mention that. The high roller is the wheel that goes around, which I'm sure you've seen. But what you probably don't know about the high roller is they have a half hour happy hour where you
Oh,
can go on the roller and have cocktails.
I did not know that. Okay.
The half hour happy hour. And that makes it even more fun. And you get different vantage points of seeing the strip if you stand in the front of it, if you stand in the back of it. You know, it's glass all around and it's so much that's lovely. And you can then stop at In and Out right there
Okay.
afterwards. But for more food that's more on the strip, you have one area that's probably not so expensive, and that would be Italy, which
Oh,
is the
sure. Hmm.
The Italian food market that is at Park MGM. And
Ah, okay.
a lot of choices there from pizza to
Hmm.
breads to gelato, grab an espresso. You don't have to break the bank there. So that's a good one. Some of the other hotels like Cosmopolitan, they have food courts there. They're not bad. You can check those out too. I think more people though go to those hotels if they're going to stay, if they're looking for the fine dining. And I'll start with Cosmopolitan because one of my hero chef has a couple of restaurants there. I think it's three, in fact. Jose Andres, who is just the best humanitarian in the world, has a couple of very creative restaurants there. Jaleo, which is Spanish cuisine, and he has China Poblano, which is a mix of Mexican and Chinese, and it's very creative, very different. And if you do want to totally break the bank, which is E, the letter E with an accent on it. E by Jose Andres is a little sneak secret room. You walk through to the back, and all of a sudden you're in this chef's counter type of place. It costs you a month's rent, and you have this incredible dining experience where everything is created in front of you with a pairing of different levels of wine, his global selection, his personal selection, a lower price selection. Very creative and truly showing the best of Jose Andres. Now,
Interesting.
yeah, totally. What I usually suggest for people, though, is if you don't want to move around a lot, you can confine your dining to two hotels, for instance. Like the Venetian is a hotspot for restaurants. I could just eat there every one of my meals, never leave. And if you're going to the Sphere, that's perfect because you don't have to walk anywhere. You're right there. One of the chefs who's made a name for himself, Eyal Shani, has a few restaurants there. There's a stand called Miznan, which is Israeli cuisine with falafel and his very famous roasted cauliflower and things like that. But he has at the other end an incredible restaurant called Hasalon, which is, I don't know how to describe it. It's a cross between dining that morphs into a nightclub, but
Okay.
not really. It's more like an evening party where all of a sudden people start dancing on tables. But it's theatricality and dining. And even if you don't stay long enough for the dance part of it, the dining part is incredible. There was one dish that I'll never forget. It was called the Terrifying Hammer. And they took, okay, the chef comes over with a side tray and he takes out a slab of Wagyu beef and gives you a hammer and you pound it thin to this paper thin layer, which he completes and then seasons. And that's your dinner. I've never seen anything like it. It's so much fun.
Hmm.
You don't have to go crazy like that, but you should. You really should. And if you don't want to spend that much money, the rest of the Venetian outlets are very creative. I love Sushi Samba. It started in New York many years ago. It's just a fun place for a mix of Japanese and Latin, all sorts of dishes. It's loud, it's fun, it's musical. Also a great place if you're going to Allegiant. Yardbird, also in the Venetian, has the best fried chicken I've ever had in my life. And then another Jose Andres restaurant that's there, Bazaar Meats, is everything. If you're a meat freak, this is where you go. It's beautiful. It's also theatrical, as all of his restaurants are very design forward, very pretty.
And we should say that's bizarre as in going to the bazaar rather than bizarre. I can't believe that's meat.
That would be appropriate, but it's no, it's the shop. It's a
Yeah.
bazaar. Yeah. Bazaar.
I assumed it was the other one at first, and I was going to be getting my ostrich there or something. So
You
that's
might be
why I
able to.
clarify.
You might be able to. So the other hotel that has a wonderful array of restaurants where you could stay put and choose one after the other and has a nice price range too is again the Fontainebleau, which I love this place. They're smart. The whole hotel concept is just so smart. It's so different from the rest of the hotels on the strip that are older. I think they've benefited from the fact that they're new and they've watched the development and watched trends in culinary and hotel and spa and everything else. So they have a promenade area that is a collection of well-priced restaurants for starters. And my favorite is El Bagel. And I live in New York and I love the bagels there. And they're
Hmm.
creative. They're bagels with sprouts and vegan cream cheese and all kinds of things to make everybody happy. They're so good. They're monstrous. They're wonderful. And then you can walk next door to their pizza stand, and then there's a sandwich place. So you have inexpensive options right there. Or
Okay.
go downstairs on the main floor, and then you'll find the heavy hitters. They have top chefs who have opened restaurants there. I've tried most of them. China Club is just gorgeous for Cantonese and Peking duck. And they had a cocktail that I've never seen in my life that was knockout. It was a clarified Bloody Mary. So if you can imagine a white crystalline Bloody Mary with the pieces of whether it was a pepper in it or a lime or whatever inside it, it was a powerful one. But it had none of that overt tomatoey look, but it was tomato. was
Hmm.
incredible. And then there's a new Mexican there that's a couple of heavy hitters that came in. Cantina Contramar just opened there. One that you may, oh, I don't know if Q, it actually started in Miami Beach and Wynwood.
No.
Q is a gorgeous, everything there, by the way, is huge. This is Vegas. Everything is big. Q is wood-fired Asian dishes that are, again, very creative. You can
Hmm.
order one or two and have takeaway for a few days. They're huge dishes as well. And there are also a few bars there that I love, and I've got a secret one there that if you promise you won't tell too many people, there's a reason why it's called what it is. It's called Nowhere. And
Okay.
it's like sitting in somebody's living room. It's a salon feel, and it's in an area of the hotel that you wouldn't expect to find it. So it's a speakeasy, if you will, but it has live music, phenomenal creative drinks. And it's wonderful. And people get dressed. If it's a night where they're playing jazz, people dress for jazz. It's an event. It's secret. There's also a mezcal bar downstairs that'll pack a punch. I'm talking from experience. So anyway, those are a lot of my favorites.
Excellent. As we
Yeah.
start to head towards wrapping this up, first of all, anything else you can think of that somebody needs to know before they go to Vegas?
Yeah, bring really comfortable shoes. You're going to walk.
Yep.
Seriously, you're going to walk.
Hmm.
Vegas is a fashionista paradise. And you will find the quirky, you'll find people in the stiletto heels, you'll find people in the hot pants, and that's men and women. But I don't recommend that at all. Save that for what you look at and make yourself comfortable and really dress for the weather. As Chris said, it's very hot there most of the time, and you are walking. So get yourself a good pair of funky sneakers, wear those or flat shoes. Leave the heels home. If you are going to go to one of the clubs or maybe a show and you want to dress up or one of the finer dining restaurants, bring the shoes with you and change. If you're going to one of the late night nightclubs, bring something sparkly. That will help. I'm not sure that the guidebooks tell you all that, but you don't have to dress like you're 20 years old. You'll see plenty of that. Dress for comfort.
Okay. Excellent. As we get to our wrap up questions, you're standing in the prettiest spot in Vegas. Where are you standing? What are you looking at?
Oh my goodness. I know where I'm going. I'm going to Paris. I'm going to the Eiffel Tower. And if I can't get a seat at the restaurant Mon Ami Gabi, which is on the ground floor outside, I want to go to the viewing platform at the top of the Eiffel Tower so I can look across the strip and see the fountains of
Bellagio.
Bellagio.
Hmm.
I do. Yeah, you can go in front of the fountains themselves and you'll hear the music better that way. But if you're at the top outside at Paris, you'll hear the music and you'll have less crowds and you'll have a different vantage point. And I just think there's nothing like that. It's beautiful.
Excellent. I might have also gone with Valley of Fire, but that's a great answer.
Well, that's true if you're leaving. That's true if you're leaving. Yes.
One thing that makes you laugh and say only in Vegas.
Miniature costumes, or it's the people who come dressed up for who are Taylor Swift lookalikes, or maybe they're
Or
dressed as a
Elvis
bar.
lookalikes, or yeah.
Elvis looks like lookalikes, or the people who are going to get married at the wedding chapels. Actually, the wedding chapels would be one of those only in Vegas. And I have to say, I did it. I renewed my vows at the Graceland Chapel, and I did it with an Elvis impersonator. And it was
Funny.
so much fun. That's an only in Vegas, without a doubt.
And if you had to summarize Vegas in just 3 words, what 3 words would you pick?
One of a kind. I know that's four. Sorry,
That
but that
okay.
no. Okay,
I'll
that
give
counts
you
as
that.
that counts
But
as
next time
one.
you come on, you only get 2 words.
Okay, thank you so much.
Our guest again has been Meryl Pearlstein. As we mentioned, her website for both her PR work as well as you can find links to her writing is mdppublicity.com. And what article are you working on right now, Meryl?
I'm actually working an article about people traveling for concerts and how it's affected travel. The fact, just what I mentioned,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are doing gig tripping, if you will. They're traveling for marquee names. So Vegas is a huge part of that. They'll see that Metallica is playing there. So they
Right.
say, okay, I'm going to Metallica on such and such a date. Okay, now I'm going to figure out my hotel. Now I'm going to figure out what else I'm going to do.
Right.
And now I'm going to figure out where I'm going to eat. And then I booked my flights.
Meryl, thanks so much for coming on Amateur Traveler and sharing with us your obvious love for Las Vegas.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.
It's time to refresh your yard during spring backyard days at the Home Depot. Get low prices guaranteed on propane grills starting at $179, like the Next Grill 3-burner gas grill. Or get $50 off a select Weber Spirit grill and bring big flavor to your backyard. Then set the scene with Hampton Bay string lights that bring it all together. Shop spring backyard days for 7 days at the Home Depot, now through May 6th. Exclusions apply. See homedepot.com/price match for details.
I don't know about you, but I've been finding the news very stressful over the last year or so, and really have had to cut back on my news and looked for things that are a little more relaxing. If that's you, you might be interested in a relaxing podcast called Stories from the Village of Nothing Much. Each episode invites you into the village, a soothing place where life moves gently, from the inn on the lake to the downtown bookshop, from the farmer's market to the cabin in the woods. You'll hear warm, family-friendly stories designed to help you slow down, breathe easier, and feel at home. It's like a grown-up version of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, gentle, thoughtful, and full of everyday magic. From the creator of the internationally beloved podcast, Nothing Much Happens, this series expands the village into a rich, ongoing world. It's not about falling asleep, it's about comfort, calm, and the joy of a good story. If you're new, try episode 84, All Animal Edition. It's a delightful introduction to the village's gentle pace and whimsy. You can listen to Stories from the Village of Nothing Much wherever you get your podcasts. My thanks to Meryl, and a special thanks to the patrons of the show who help support Amateur Traveler financially. If you're interested in becoming a patron of this show, go to patreon.com/amateurtraveler to learn more. When this show comes out, I'll be in southern Spain, in Jerez, and stay tuned. Subscribe to Amateur Traveler if you want to hear more about that trip when I get back. To learn more about the 2027 Amateur Traveler trip to Bolivia, go to the private Facebook group at amateurtraveler.com/trips. On the episode I did recently on Central America, I heard from frequent guest Jonty Crane, who said, "Hi, Chris, another great episode that brought back memories, in particular of Antigua, which is such a special place. A less well-known gem there is Casa Propense, which is an excellent place to understand the history of Antigua, both when it was the capital of Guatemala and its more recent preservation, leading to it becoming a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1979. Originally built only about a decade before the capital was relocated, the house was bought by the American Wilson Propense in the early 20th century. He and his wife restored it and opened it to visitors even while living in the house. It's now open by guided tour, which needs to be booked at least the day before, but for anyone interested in history and architecture, it is a must visit." Jonty. Thanks, Jonty. I wish I knew that before I was in Antigua. I also heard from David on the same episode. His was a long letter, so I'll only read part of it. "I was interested to hear about your recent trip to Central America. I'm only about 2 months removed from a trip to Colombia, Panama, and El Salvador. On a trip a couple of years ago, I visited Belize, Guatemala, and the Copan ruins. On both trips, I was doing a more independent travel style with 1 or 2 of my adult children. We focus on historical sites, and our time in Guatemala was more focused on Mayan ruins. We went to Tikal, El Mirador, which required a helicopter ride, and Copan, before spending a couple of days in Antigua and Chichicastenango. We made a day trip to Lake Atitlan from Antigua and spent a couple of days on Cocar Key in Belize before flying home. I think the thing that made Copan unique among Mayan ruins was that whereas the fascia displays of gods and mythology on the buildings in all of the other cities were made out of some kind of plaster, I believe the ones in Copan were all carved out of rock. Those were all original and have survived the test of time, while a lot of those you see in Chichen Itza, for example, are highly reconstructed." That is true, David. And I'll put a longer segment of David's letter in the show notes if you're interested in seeing what else he had to say. And with that, we're going to end this episode of Amateur Traveler. If you have any questions, send an email to chris2x@gmail.com, or better yet, leave a comment on this episode at amateurtraveler.com. And as always, thanks so much for listening.